Mhm.
All right, well, we'll kick it off, Steve. Great to see you, Steve, and thank you so very much for making the time to meet with me today. I really appreciate that. I know you're very busy in your department, so thank you. I'll
Pleasure.
just give you a little introduction to what this is all about. So this is our initial meeting. For the sake of the exercise, I'll just let the assessors know that this is my submission for TAEPDD502, Lead and Mentor VET Teachers, Trainers and Assessors, and this is Assessment Task 2. Steve, can I please just invite you to just introduce yourself, just say who you are, where you work, and your area of expertise?
So my name is Steve Healy. I'm a leading firefighter based out of Southern District 2. I'm currently seconded into a policy planning and operational guidance department for the next 12 months, where I'll be working on writing an array of doctrine for the organisation across various departments. My strengths would be I have a lot of admin background and design background, so it definitely helps within policy writing. And knowing my way around a computer obviously assists in, I guess, creating doctrine and hopefully get it published to the broader audience.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's great, Steve. And you'll see in a moment why I've selected you today, because the design and the administrative skill set that you have could be invaluable to this project that I'm about to present to you. Just quickly for the introduction of myself. So my name's Lee Roberts. I'm a seconded structural instructor. My employer is Fire Rescue Victoria, and I'm seconded back into the Country Fire Authority for the purposes of competency acquisition for volunteer firefighters. Okay, great. So, Steve, what this meeting is about is the stakeholders at the Country Fire Authority have asked me to run a project to investigate the viability of running online classrooms, digital classrooms, mainly in response to the pandemic. As I'm sure you're aware, competency acquisition and learning and development has taken an enormous change into the online space. As I'm sure you're aware, with flexible working arrangements, even within our workforce. And I've essentially putting together a working party to test this idea, see if we can run it as part of our course delivery and our training programs. And I would probably just prefix this by saying that we can't undermine the assessment tools where performance evidence is required. So the practical observations and things such as running drills, we're not looking at necessarily changing that, but essentially the many knowledge sessions that happen across evenings in a classroom setting. The CFA is really motivated to see if they can be ran online in a digital classroom context. So can you just think from your perspective, even in an FRV environment, why this motivation might be arising? Why do you think this would be something that the organisations would be interested in pursuing?
I guess looking at the CFA and the size of Victoria and the number of volunteers they have, it can be difficult to capture people. Obviously, we've been volunteering. Obviously, they've got their own businesses, lives, jobs, families. So maybe there can be sometimes time poor. Locations, obviously the size of Victoria might be difficult to get to certain locations on certain dates, etc. And maybe an online learning aspect. And for definitely a volunteer space, would assist in getting more training packages and getting more people signed off with the relevant training required across the state.
Yes, no, excellent. All very valid points. And I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So you're really appreciative of the time and the space for the volunteer cohort that exists throughout Victoria, and getting those people into the one place at the one time to participate in the training. It sounds like also I suppose even just from my experience as well, to add to what you're saying is, volunteers aren't compensated for their fuel, for their use of their vehicles. And there's also an expectation that they are operationally ready. So they can have their pages with them and be responding while simultaneously trying to be available to upskill, which can just cause difficulties. So, yeah. No, thank you, Steve. That's great. Great. So, Steve, I'm just going to outline the objective. Do you have a bit of an appreciation now for what the context of this meeting is? Is there anything I haven't explained properly?
No, I certainly definitely get a context of what he's trying to achieve.
Okay, great, no problem. So, look, I know that you're very accustomed to the SMART objective, as we all are in the fire service. So, to set my personal objectives, I'm going to use the SMART acronym, and I'll try and keep it as short and concise as possible. Okay, so S for specific. Okay, so specifically, I want us to facilitate a single session digital classroom for each of these units: respond to urban, suppress wildfire, and operate breathing apparatus. So they are 3 units of competency that we deliver, nationally recognised units, and I just want a single knowledge session from each of those programs delivered in a digital classroom. As you're aware, some of those classrooms can be up of 15 to 20 classroom sessions before the course is complete. So there's lots of opportunity in there to just pick something that's going to be suitable. I'm going to measure the objective by once each of those units has had one single classroom delivered. So that's how we'll measure the objective. Once each classroom has been delivered, then we know we've achieved our objective. The reason I think it's achievable is because with our instructor cohort, we have the current knowledge and skills in vocational training and learning, and all our trainers and assessors are undertaking professional development, so we're up to date. And we're also entrenched into the CFA as an RTO. So I think that's great. Also, in your specific case, Steve, with your skill set in digital design, your understanding of digital technology, I'm also even more assured that this objective is achievable getting onto the online platform from the classroom. Just with regards to the relevance, so the coronavirus pandemic has accelerated the sector statewide expansion of online delivery. In general, prior to COVID-19 pandemic, online learning was one mode of delivery used in Australian VET, but since the pandemic, providers across the state have really progressed in this space. So I think it's very relevant to our training and learning context. Time frame. So we've got 3 weeks. Okay, so 15 working days. So I really thought about this. We could really drag this on and make it war and peace, but let's just strike while the iron's hot and we'll just get straight into it. 3 weeks. Okay, so I just want to outline my responsibilities as the mentor. So I'll be mentoring my mentees, being the working party. So a couple of things that are my accountabilities, responsibilities. I'll provide guidance and support and advice based on your knowledge, skills, and your experience. So you've outlined your experience in digital design. I'll be looking to really bring that to the forefront and guide you into how that can be utilised. I'll be the one that clarifies the objective and expectations and establishes our mentoring relationship. And that will spill into things like setting goals and timelines and what have you. Steve, I'll also provide constructive feedback on your performance, and I'll help you progress in areas of improvement. Lastly, I'll be monitoring your progress, okay, and I'll be providing periodic evaluations and adjustments to my own mentoring approach based on your performance as a mentee. Are you happy with that explanation, Steve? Is there anything about my responsibilities that are unclear?
No, I think you were very clear, and for what my role will be, and obviously the support and mentoring I'll receive.
Yep, great.
Yep, happy with that.
Okay, very good. I'll even just illustrate your responsibilities as the mentee further. So, Steve, couple of things for the mentees. You'll be maintaining professionalism in the interactions with myself and the other members of the working party. I'd also appreciate, Steve, if you could take the responsibility on of providing feedback to me on the effectiveness of our mentoring relationship. If you think there's things that I can improve on, I welcome suggestions for improvement. I just also request, Steve, that as a mentee, you respect my time and my expertise and also our confidentiality, and that we work together to just build this trusting relationship in this working party. Okay, any questions on that, Steve? Well, that's nice and clear.
Yeah, no, that's nice and clear. Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay, no problem. All right, Steve, just to paint a bit more of the picture, I'm going to illustrate two recent industry developments and how we can integrate this into our working party and into our performance. So the first one is that the e-learning market is experiencing rapid growth, forecast by the end of 2024. The worth of this market is estimated to be $325 billion, and it represents 900% growth since the year 2000. Just in the corporate context, corporate e-learning is 40 to 60% less time consuming than learning in a traditional classroom setting. So that flexible learning, flexible work arrangement is really demonstrated in the figures. The e-learning platform consumes 90% less energy, and it produces 85% less CO2 emissions per student. So as you were saying at the start, this massive statewide space we have, time and space with volunteer students travelling to and fro classrooms, accommodation, vehicles, etc. This is an enormous CO2 emissions reduction. These are all, important environmental considerations. Second one is ASQA, being the governing body for our VET sector, have conducted a strategic review on online learning. And the review found that whilst quality VET can be delivered online, take into consideration the requirements of the training product, the student cohort, the skills of the trainer and assessor, and the tools, technologies, and processes for delivery online, the challenges and opportunities and risks vary depending on those factors alone. So really, it's almost no different to those factors being present in a tangible classroom environment. The risk to quality is really based on how those factors are handled, whether it be online or in a tangible classroom environment. So those really are the cornerstones to look at to make sure that we deliver a quality product online. Okay, great. Just want to check, Steve, any questions on those trends, those developments I've discussed?
No questions so far.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to give you, we're nearing the end of our meeting, Steve, and I'm going to give you some developmental tasks. Now, going to base these on your expertise in digital design and also your strong administrative skill set. But, okay, the first task I'm going to give you is I'm going to title this self-assess, okay? And there's potential, expertise, and motivation. They're the three dots that I'm going to include with this, self-assess. Now, the instruction is to complete a questionnaire, which I'll provide to you. Now, this is a self-assessment questionnaire, and the instructions are quizzing your own instructing background, your qualifications, your certifications, and your past performance in training and assessment. So I'll provide you this. I'd like you to go away, complete this. It's going to be tailored to you with your digital design background, and I want you to really extract those strengths that you've got based on your background in this area. I'd then like you to write a paragraph for me, Steve, illustrating your realistic capacity and interest in taking on this new challenge, okay, and learning new skills and contributing to the goals of the RTO. So you can be as honest and upfront and transparent as possible. I won't be offended, but you just go for it. I know you're very busy in your department, and I appreciate that there may be constraints to what you can deliver. The second development task, Steve, is I'd like you to set a catalogue of objectives using the SMART acronym. So step one will be set SMART objectives: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time frame. And step two in that is I want you to create some action steps. So break down the goal into actionable steps or tasks and start to tick these off as we complete them. Okay. The third developmental task I'll give you, Steve, is just concerning training, okay, support and feedback. So I'd like you as a mantra to summon training, mentoring and coaching to you. Seek support in acquiring new skills or knowledge that's required to realise our work plan, okay? So thinking of yourself as a student with resources available to you, don't pause, don't hesitate, request further training, request consultation with myself. I'd like you to start to take that on board. All right, Steve. So thank you so much for your participation in today's meeting. Would you be comfortable, based on what I've outlined, becoming part of this working party and moving forward with this plan?
Absolutely. I think it's a fantastic innovative idea moving forward for obviously helping volunteers, making it a flexible arrangement for them to learn. So yeah, I'd love to be a part of this project.
Okay, great. Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, Steve. We will conclude this meeting. I'll send through the documentation for you to get cracking in this area. Like I said, we've got 15 days, and I'm very much here to support you. I've outlined our responsibilities as mentor and mentee, and I'm thrilled to have you on board, and I look forward to moving through to realising this project and going through to our performance assessment sessions that we'll have, where I'll provide you feedback further down the track.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Okay, thanks a lot, Steve. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers.